Welcome into a season of Down the Line with Charlie and Bo. I'm Sam Wilson. Guys, what can our viewers expect this season?
I think that you can expect a lot of great stories from Larry and I, because baseball's been our life, both of us. We've been friends for a long time, and I'm very happy to be able to do this.
And you know what, Sam? We're going to share our passion with all our fans out there. And not only are we going to talk about the Phillies, we're going to talk about all the sports in the Philadelphia area, but it all starts right here.
Season begins right after this. Down the Line is brought to you in part by the Valley Forge Tourism and Convention Board. Visit Montgomery County's main streets. Find out more at makeitmainstreet.com.
They're not just familiar faces, they're your friends and neighbors. It's their small businesses, a beating heart that makes a neighborhood a home, where personality is served on a plate and imagination paints a brighter world. A place where fresh is always in stock with a personal touch passed down through generations. Support small and make a big difference. Make it local. Make it Main Street. Make it Montco.
Welcome back into Down the Line with Charlie and Bo. We're on Broad Street, and that obviously holds some special memories in your heart. Can you guys tell us about the World Series you both brought to Philadelphia?
Well, obviously, I'll go first because ours was in 1980. It was something that you never forget, and I'm sure Charlie can reiterate to that. These streets were packed, people were crying, tears of joy running down their faces, banners. Ours happened to be the first ever in Philly history, and then Chuck's team followed up in '08, and he can share his experience with his.
Yes, without a doubt. I want to tell you something. I remember it well. I remember everything about the parade. It's one of the biggest parades I've seen in my life. I was fortunate enough in baseball to be in 2 or 3 parades, even in Japan. And the one here in Philadelphia was the most, by far, the best. And also, too, like the 2 teams that we were arguing about today, it's always been an argument. And hopefully we can have a conversation here today that's going to let people make their own mind up.
How you doing?
We're doing
Yeah, we're filming.
How you doing?
Okay. That's good.
Hey, but anyway, you know, like we got 2 teams here, 80 and 208, and we're going to let the fans and all the people in Philadelphia and Pennsylvania decide on which team is the best, their own opinion. To me, that's what makes baseball. That's the interesting part of arguing all your life about teams.
So Charlie, you already brought it up. 80, 08. I wasn't around for 80. I was around for 08. Who was the better team? Who would win?
Well, let's just compare the positions. My catcher was Bob Boone.
My catcher was Ruiz, Chooch.
My first baseman, Pete Rose.
My first baseman was a big piece, Ryan Howard.
My second baseman was Manny Trio.
My second baseman was Chase Utley.
My heart.
My shortstop was me.
He's got confidence in that one.
My shortstop was J-Rowe.
My third baseman was Mike Schmidt.
My third baseman was Felice.
My left fielder, Greg the Bull Luzinski.
My left fielder was Pat the pretty boy Burrow.
My center fielder was Secretary of Defense, Gary Maddox.
My center fielder was the Flying Hawaiian, Victorino.
And my right fielder was Shake and Bake McBride.
My right fielder was Jason Worth.
And my starting pitcher, Sam, was Steve Carlton.
My starting pitching is Cole Hamels. And if it would have been a 7-game series, Hamels and Carlton could have pitched maybe 3 games because Hamels was that hot.
And for sure, Carlton would have pitched 3 games because back then, there was no innings. He pitched well over 300 innings. So we'll just let the fans, that's a great debate. Let me just say this. It was 2 great teams that deserve to win the World Series. There's no question.
Yeah, I would like to say this, people, like at first, like Bo and I, we've talked about this quite a bit. And at first I told Bo my team was definitely the best. all of a sudden he produced the lineup for me, and I started looking at it, and I knew all these guys, and I'm thinking to myself, that would be unfair for me to just say, well, my team is always the best. So, you know, like I told you before, baseball has its way of holding people's interest and things like that, and it's great that all the people can remember those two teams and make up their own mind which is their favorite team.
I will say one thing. Jim Salisbury did a combination of the two teams, and he did say that the 80 team won 4 and Chuck's team won 2. I know that doesn't mean anything. You don't win games by computers, but you know what? It would have been great to turn back the clock and let these two teams play a 7-game series.
What about bullpens in those aspects? Because I mean, like I said, I wasn't around for the 80 team. Oh wait, I was 10 years old, 13. So the bullpens, do you think that would affect the long run of the series?
Oh, there's no question. And again, we'll go back and Charlie can tell me his closer.
Right. My closer was Ledge.
And my closer was Tug McGraw. And who was your setup man, Chuck?
My setup man was Madsen.
And I had Ron Reid. So there's 4 more pitchers that head-to-head, it would have been a great experience. And we don't have to talk about the fans because the Vet was packed and Citizens Bank Park was packed. So the energy level was at a high pitch for every one of those games.
What about, so now that we have that aside, and we can't, it's impossible, like you said.
No question.
You can't have a winner out of the two. There's legends on both teams. Obviously, you both are legends yourself. But the interesting fact of it is it was 28 years apart, but you both had the same World Series tour. Do you guys think that it was very similar, the parade itself down Broad Street?
I definitely do. They might have had more people at Broad Street because of it was such a long time, but then people don't realize that when we finished Broad Street, JFK was up and they seated 100,000. So when we finished it and we went by Veterans Stadium, we went into JFK and it was 100,000 people in there. So the magnitude of it with both of them were tremendous. The fans tell you what they feel about their sports team by looking at both those parades and the energy level that they brought during those parades.
I think he pretty much hit it, except, you know, like when I look at it, our team, both of those teams had a lot of talent on it, and it would be hard to really say and be accurate on, you know, like which one was better. Like I said, it creates a great conversation.
I will say this, Sam, I don't think anybody in baseball would want to play these two teams.
Oh, no way.
Because they were two talented teams.
When you say the rosters, it makes sense why you guys won the World Series those years. And like we said, it's impossible. But I have one question too.
Okay.
So you obviously were a player in your prime. You got to party. Charlie, you were a little older because you were the manager. So did you get to enjoy the party aspect of it?
I absolutely got to enjoy the party aspect of it. I was in the playoffs with the Indians and World Series, things like that, Twins, and there's nothing like a World Series, but to win it, it was absolutely, it's hard for me to explain to you, you know, like how you feel.
I'll reveal my secret because I was a player. I don't remember the day after the parade, so I was partying all night long.
Which means you did it right.
Yeah, I did it
Honestly.
up. I did it up.
Yeah.
But, so obviously,
hold a minute now. After the game, I'm gonna do something. After the game, I had some VO with Dallas Green.
All right.
I mean, you know, like,
So there you go.
and it was
two managers.
Hey, it was a pretty big. It was a big bottle of VO. It wasn't a small bottle.
I love it. So leading up to the World Series, before you got the ring, what's your biggest memory? Like, what game stands out in both series for you guys?
The game that stands out for me is we had to go to Montreal and win 2 out of 3 to get to the playoffs, and Mike Schmidt hit a 2-run homer in Montreal to put us over the hump. But people don't realize the Houston series was big, but Schmidt got us there in winning in Montreal, which was very difficult to do.
What stands out for me was we had a game in Dodger Stadium, and Matt Starr's pinch hit home run actually won that game for us, you know, like, and put us in the World Series, helped put us in the World Series.
And the reason he brought that up, because I was coaching for the Dodgers, and I had to watch it. Straight across, I saw Charlie and Stairs hit the home run. Twice, Chuck's team sent me, who I was coaching for the Dodgers, we went home a week earlier than we should have.
I love it. Well, when we come back, we'll have a special challenge from Charlie to Larry. back into Down the Line. Guys, we're here at the Rocky Steps.
This is it, Chuck.
Yeah, see if I can do it. I've always wanted to do this.
Are you sure you can do this?
I think so.
Okay, well let's go for it. Let's go, Sam.
Let's go.
Sam, I can't believe he's going to go up there.
We'll see if he makes it.
I'm going to be right behind him if he makes it. Go ahead, Chuck.
Yeah! Okay, so let's see how long it takes Larry to make it.
I hear you. You got more than that. Let's go. Hello, baby. Come on, let's go. Hello, boy, Bo, man. You made it. Look at you. Hello, baby. Hey.
Hey, now wait a minute now. I'm putting up a sign here. Charlie ran those. You got here ahead of me
He did.
with the Tommy Bahama. Let me see. He's not even sweating.
Hey, I mean, I saw him finish it. That's all I can say. I saw him finish.
Chuck, all I can tell you is I'm in good shape. You must be in great
Well,
shape.
I guess that's why they call me cool. You know?
So we've talked before how Philly is the city of champions and they love their championships. What better way to celebrate it than the Rocky Steps?
This is it. This is where it all starts. Rocky, never quit, never give up. That's the attitude that Chuck and I have. That's the attitude we hope all our athletes in Philadelphia have. Blue collar city, and this is where it all starts right here.
Yeah. I don't know what I can add to that except I can visualize Rocky running up his steps. Bo would give him a good. He would give him a good run. I think. I think when Bo was Rocky's age, he might have a hard time beating Bo.
Yeah, we're gonna have to turn back the clock for that.
I don't know. You guys both did it great. You both did it great. You look great.
We got it done. We'll put it that way.
So you said how Rocky is the Philly mentality, and obviously it's where everybody gets their. If you're not from Philly, it's where you get your idea of the Philly mindset. How do you guys teach your players that?
Well, you got to teach them never to quit, no matter what the odds are against you. Sometimes the deck is stacked against you. There's no question about that. But you got to dig down deep. And as Charlie well knows, there's games where you play where you know man for man, you might not win, but you know what? That willpower and the desire to beat the other team, that comes out.
Right. I think when I first came to Philly, and this is a true story, I remember Vuk and Bo telling me how hard it was, you know, like to play in Philly, and you had to do certain things for the fans to like you, like hustle and and things like that. And they painted a picture of, you know, like, well, you got to hustle and you got to be mentally tough, and you got to and listen to them because they are the greatest fans of baseball. But at the same time, if you don't play right, they're going to get on you and things like that. I remember those things, and I think that's part of teaching them too. I had one player, for instance, you know, like a guy we got in a trade from Texas, and when spring training broke, I played him in left field, and the fans are out there booing him. They were booing the heck out of him. And then when he came in at the inning, he was standing up on top of the dugout, and he looked down at me, and he says, "I don't think I'm going to like it here." and I can remember it just like yesterday. But what Bo's talking about, believe me, I think that's who the fans are here, because they get into it, because they care about you and they love their baseball.
So,
You know what, Sam? If you give 100%, it might not all turn out good that day. You know, you might go 0 for 4, you might have made an error. But if they know you are giving 100% every time you put the uniform on, that's all they want. And are you going to get booed? No question. You'll get booed.
even if you're a great player,
It doesn't
you're going to get
matter.
booed in
It does
Philadelphia.
not matter as long as you let them know that you care. And before the season's over, they're going to be on your side, believe me.
Who, coaching or playing or just coaching, when your times in Philadelphia, who was the most, obviously not from here, but who had the biggest Philly mentality? Like, obviously Bryce Harper now fits in perfectly, but when you guys were here, who was your greatest Philly athlete, you think?
I'm going to go outside the box because it'd be easy for me to say a baseball player because I had a bunch of them. I played with a bunch of them, just like Charlie managed them. But I would say Bernie Perron, the goaltender
yes.
for the Flyers. He's all about work ethic. They loved him, and he's a tremendous individual. But he's the guy that stands out because I was playing. That's when I was playing when the Broad Street Bullies were playing, and so I watched him, and he epitomized what hard work's all about.
He stayed around Philly too,
Yes,
so
he
loved
still lives
it.
here.
Very easy for me, Chase Utley. just who he is, his preparation and his demeanor, and like I said, who he was. He played hard, like he ran hard, he played hard, he was a student of the game, he didn't say too much, he just went out and played baseball.
Up next, stick around to see what makes Charlie and Bo Philly lifers.
They're not just familiar faces, they're your friends and neighbors. It's their small businesses, a beating heart that makes a neighborhood a home, where personality is served on a plate and imagination paints a brighter world. A place where fresh is always in stock with a personal touch passed down through generations. Support small and make a big difference. Make it local. Make it Main Street. Make it Montco.
One thing I wanted to bring up to you guys is, Larry, you have hashtag Phillies Lifer in your Twitter bio.
Right.
And Charlie, you have hashtag Baseball Lifer. I know you guys are obviously big fans, but Charlie, what's going on? Baseball Lifer?
Actually, I would have put the Phillies first.
So if you
Without
had
a
to
doubt,
rank them,
really.
you just like the sport.
Yeah.
If you had to rank
Right.
them,
Yeah.
Phillies are number one.
Yeah,
Right, no
yeah.
question.
I'm a lot similar of things of Bowa. I think I started playing baseball, when I was about 5 or 6 years old, and I became a real, just overemphasized my whole life really, as far as studying the game and also being around it and wanting to play it.
The art of it.
I think the fact, Sam, that we're from different parts of the country and we've ended up here, we root for all the home teams, no matter what. The Sixers, the Flyers, the Eagles. It's in your blood, and you want every team to do well. We got to know Andy Reid really good, great coach here, and we got to know some of the players. So you feel like not only are you part of the Phillies home base, but we really like every team that plays here.
Now, when you guys go to the other stadiums, we have Lincoln Financial Field, Wells Fargo right there. When you guys go there, do you guys get bombarded by fans and just saying thank you for everything that you guys have done for the city?
I think actually, I think a good example of that would be in Wilmington, the last four or five games that we've seen over in the A-League, and the people that come up to you during a game and they thank you, or they definitely want your autograph, or they just want to have a conversation with you,
Right.
and things like that. It's amazing sometimes. Like I can go all over the state of Pennsylvania, and I'm sure Larry can too, and it's amazing. Sometimes it's more than others that people would just gather around you, and and they kind of make you feel like that they are one of you. Go ahead.
I was going to say, what Charlie was saying is their passion comes out. The fact that we both won World Series, me as a player, Charlie as a manager, no matter where you go, that's already etched in stone. And we haven't won that many. The Phillies have not won that many as far as world championships. So when you do make your mark, people don't forget. Believe me, they do not forget, and they're very passionate. They love the Phillies. In both parades, you could see tears of joy running down people's faces. They were so excited about the Phillies winning World Series.
So you guys already mentioned how when you win a championship in Philadelphia, it sticks with you. And obviously our most recent winner was the Philadelphia Eagles in
Right.
2018. Finally got one. What's your guys' fondest moment at the link?
I think the fact that, again, the passion came out with the fans, the parade. When you see a parade like that, Charlie can reiterate this, it brings back memories. It's going down Broad Street, whether it was 08, whether it was 80, whether it's when the Eagles won, the Flyers won their Stanley Cup. Those parades are something that are etched in your mind forever. And again, we revert back to the blue-collar city. They love their sports teams, and they really love you, as Chuck knows, when you win a championship.
I think it actually, like when I think about the Eagles, I think what was so special about the Eagles that they were really very physical, and they played the game real physical and hard. And also at that time, I always thought their coach took a lot of chances, especially when he got in big moments of the game and big serious moments of the game. And it seemed like almost everything he did worked for them. He definitely overstepped the boundary as far as taking chances.
Yeah, he sort of threw the analytics out. You know, when it came to push came to shove, it was like, I'm going with my gut here. And they did the one play, what's it called, the Philly
Special.
Philly Special, caught everybody off guard. That's the kind of stuff fans like to see, you know. The coach not being afraid, the players not being afraid, they're letting it all hang out, and that's exactly what happened. When you win a world championship, whether it's hockey, basketball, football, or baseball, if you recap that whole season, it's a team that took chances and wasn't afraid to make mistakes.
When you guys say take chances, do you guys correlate? I mean, baseball's a different sport,
Right.
but do you guys correlate? Was that how you guys were as managers?
Yeah, I think we both were.
I would agree. I would agree with Larry. You know, like I like action in the game, and I think of it sometimes. You know, like we won our fans over. Our team did, because of who we were, our identities as personalities and things like that. And the fact that you see Victorino hit a double or triple, or Utley, and the way they run the bases, and Jimmy Rollins in with energy, and we used to slide hard. And even before they changed the rule at the plate, we used to run over the catcher and things like this.
Yeah.
And we played very physical, and at the same time, we took a lot of chances when stealing bases. And Larry definitely, he liked to run. I like to hit and run and hit and things like that. I like to push the game. And sometimes with your power, you will sit there and you know, like, and let guys bat, because they're capable of getting you 3 runs real quick. But at the same time too, if you use all of your assets in the game, you know, like, to me, that makes a balanced lineup. That, you know, like, that gives you more men on base, and it gives you more runners in scoring position, so your chance of scoring becomes greater.
Yeah, basically what Charlie was saying is, if you put guys in motion in that, it puts pressure on the other team, as opposed to, I'm going to wait here for a 3-run home run. 3-run home runs are the greatest thing in the world, but they don't happen every night. So as a manager, as a player, as a coach, you have to invent ways to score runs sometimes. And whether it's, like he said, hitting and running, stealing a base, squeeze play, there's so many ways to score runs. And I think both those teams that won showed that ability to do all of that stuff.
You guys already talked about how you're basically living legends in Philadelphia. Well, not basically, you are. But another great coach that's going to go down in Philly history is Andy Reid, and you guys were both here for that.
Yeah.
So when you guys, since you knew him personally, with all his successes, even though he's in Kansas City, I know it still gets my heart because I grew up with Andy Reid.
Yeah.
What about you guys? Do you guys still root for him? Obviously, he's not Philly, but you guys knew him when he was here.
I do. I really like Andy Reid. I'll give you a real quick story. I was coaching for the Yankees, and it was after a season with the Eagles season was over, and so somebody said, "Hey, somebody behind the dugout at Yankee Stadium wants to say hi to you." You know, I thought it might have been a relative or something, and it was Andy Reid, and he went just like this, and I went, "Wow."
Yeah.
Oh, that gave me chills.
You know what? Andy Reid's the kind of guy. He might not show emotion, but when you get behind those doors in there, he'll let you know how he feels when he wins games and things like that. He was a great coach. He's a great coach and a great guy.
Yeah, I spent some time with Andy. I was very fortunate, you know, like to get, and he showed me around their complex and everything like that, and he explained to me what they did, and I got to know him pretty good. And I really, you know, like, I really have a lot of respect for him. And he's gone through some tough things in his life, but he's definitely endured, and he's a first-class guy, really. I mean, he's a tremendous coach. He's one of my favorites.
Yeah, he definitely looks like a cuddle bug off the field. Like, he's just
In answer to your
a
question,
lover.
we both root for Andy, except when they're playing the Eagles.
Exactly.
That's how all of Philadelphia should be, right?
Right.
Yeah, I would think everybody.
Yeah.
He brought a lot to the football team. They had some great years. They didn't win a Super Bowl, but I'll tell you what,
Got
they came
close.
close. And sometimes it's not the fact that they won. He got them to the point where Doug Peterson came in and he finished the job off. Doug did a great job also. So sometimes it's the progress of how you get there, and then sometimes he wasn't there to finish it, but Doug Peterson was.
Yeah, that's like you, Larry. You built it up for Charlie.
I had a
right?
good team for Charlie. I mean, it wasn't
I tell
a
you,
great team,
yeah,
but
you know, actually Larry's team, you know, like, if you go back and look, the first 2 years that I managed in Philadelphia, we were very similar. There was guys left over on that team and things like that, and very similar team. We were like a 500 to a 3 or 4 game team over 500.
Right.
You know, I used to talk about that with Pat Gillick and Ed Wade and them, and and of course we had to get better. You know, and so therefore we had to make some changes of personnel and things like that, and we kind of got our team better as far as pitching and defense goes.
That's the thing that's awesome about Philadelphia is everything just comes full circle and everything's just Philly, you know?
It is. It really is. And they get a little aggravated, the fans, because if you've won for them, they want it every year. And as a fan now, I'd like to see it every year.
Yeah,
but it's not that easy, Sam, as you well know. Sports it's a tough gig. You have to be, as Charlie said, you have to be lucky. You have to be at the right place at the right time. You have to take advantage of opportunities. And then when the whole thing comes together, you get to wear a ring. That's how it happens.
We'll be right back with more from Charlie and Bo. Well, guys, we did it. We finished our very first show, just us. So imagine what it's going to be when we have other Philly legends like this guy with us who actually speak. But for Charlie and Bo, I'm Sam Wilson, and we'll catch you down the line.
Down the Line is brought to you in part by the Valley Forge Tourism and Convention Board. Visit Montgomery County's main streets. Find out more at makeitmainstreet.com.